righty, Wolfpack Nation. It is time, y'all, as we are down to our final regular season preview for the 2023 NC State football season, y'all. And we have on here with us a friend of the channel for sure. Hey, listen, we've always said that there's a few like a short list, maybe about this long, of UNC fans that we like. And Great Day Tar Heel, otherwise known as Will, is definitely one of those. It's always a pleasure to catch up with Will. And again, Will, thank you so much for coming on the show to talk about the UNC side and also to talk about why NC State's going to win this game on Saturday,
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, well, so, I mean, first and foremost for me, the biggest thing which I got to ask is definitely an interesting year, to say the least, for UNC for sure. But, I mean, this isn't necessarily a dig, but I think it's honestly just kind of a observation, which is it seems like it's the last few years, with at least every single year with Mac Brown, it's kind of been the same general headlines where, there's been some starts of really great, like, oh my gosh, like this team is top 10 potential. And then there's these face buster losses towards the end of the season. I mean, so obviously you're already answering my question for me, but obviously, is this a trend for Mac Brown?
It's like in Charlie Brown, right when you think you're about to kick the football, it gets pulled away from you. You get 6-0, you get top 10
It's a
ranking.
great analogy. I like it.
I love it. You fall flat on your face against Virginia, lose to Georgia Tech, which always seems to happen, and then the wheels kind of came off a little bit there.
Yeah.
You say the wheels or the heels?
Both. Now the dog is trying to get the cat.
Say, I got the dog's attention. That was a good one.
Exactly. She's ready to go. But, it's funny because they keep referencing, we're running out of gas in the fourth quarter. Our guys like tired, blah, blah, blah. But then you don't see any substituting. So losing leads in the fourth quarter, losing steam at the end of the year, it's, something's got to change eventually. You can't just keep saying we got to substitute guys and got to stay fresh and then not do anything about it.
Yeah. Well, and again, I mean, listen, I've always said like honestly, Drake May is a guy. I mean, he actually goes to my church actually, which is funny enough, and a great guy. Like from as a person, I don't have any issues with them. And like even his little push at NC State last year, saying those people that go to it, they just go there because they go to UNC. I'm sitting here saying, hey, I like it. Hey,
it's part of the fun of the rivalry.
Little fuel.
It's part of the fun of the rival. That's right. That's right. So I don't have no issues with it. But so I mean, I'm sitting here and saying, and I do want to ask you in terms of looking at. Well, so let me ask you this: is Drake May the greatest quarterback to ever play UNC in your opinion?
I think when you look at what you want out of a quarterback, just prototypical, check every list on the box. He is the size, the way to improvise, clean pocket, having to escape and make a play, the flip over the head against Duke, making plays like the left-hand throw against Pitt. He can do everything you'd want a quarterback to be able to do. And, before him, you would have said Sam Howell was, but then you look at what they've accomplished with the best two quarterbacks, and it's not all that much that you would want with your top quarterbacks you've ever had.
Yeah. No, I mean, I literally remember, 2 years ago during the offseason when UNC fans were talking about, oh, Drake May's, going to be even better than Sam Howell. And I was literally saying, like calling him out, being like, are you serious, y'all? Like the disrespect, like Sam Howell, heads and tails, in my opinion, is the greatest quarterback to ever play at UNC, talent-wise, accomplishment-wise. And now you're saying this true this redshirt freshman guy who's only started in one game against nobody is all of a sudden going to be better than Sam Howell. Like you've absolutely lost your marbles. And now I'm sitting here later going, yep, nope, Drake May is definitely better than Sam Howell. Not even a discussion. Like it's not even close. And I mean, hey, I have to give the man props because I mean, I know he can sit there and say he didn't get much offers during the off season to go somewhere else. He got offers. There's
Definitely.
no way he didn't get offers. So I mean, for him to stick at his family tied school with his father going playing there, his brother Luke May playing there, the NC State number one enemy Luke May, and to stick out and play at UNC. I mean, especially in today's day and age where loyalty is nothing but a hope and a dream. I got to give my props to him. And so I mean, I'm sure. And that's why, honestly, to me, Will, I kind of need to ask, like, it kind of breaks my heart a little bit for Drake May and the fact that the coaching staff isn't doing him justice, and let's be real, the fans aren't doing him justice. Like
Right.
how, if Philip Rivers was playing in today's day and age, every state game would be sold out. They'd have to bring in extra bleachers just to fit all the people that are asking for him. And
Yep.
even though they played Virginia, how is it not sold out? Like how
I
do you
was
not
there for that
ready to
too.
see
That
this
was
guy?
you can use the fall break excuse, but it shouldn't
You can't
matter.
though.
It shouldn't matter.
Not with Drake May in town, man.
Nope. Exactly. Top 10 team at home. It just felt
Yeah,
flat from the start.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
even
So
then, we had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter and still lost. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
So do you think it's fair that the fans get blamed for that?
no, I mean, does a great atmosphere help? Yeah, but it's still up to the players to execute. One of the greatest statistical seasons we've had was the COVID year. I mean, with no fans
Yeah.
in the stands. So,
Yeah,
I mean, atmosphere definitely makes a difference, but you still got to execute.
for sure.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I think to your point earlier, like you just can't give up. It's the way that they're getting beat, right? They're just getting run over in the fourth quarter. It feels
Yep.
like Tech, that Georgia Tech game. I mean, they just ran roughshod over the defense, and Duke had their comeback in the fourth quarter, and then Virginia did their thing in the fourth quarter. Just if what is it that you kind of mentioned the rotation. Is it a rotation thing? Is it a depth issue? Like, what do you kind of think is kind of hold their defense back? Because if you had to put an Achilles heel on the team, it's definitely the defense.
Yeah, which is weird because they started off so strong this year. But if you looked at the snap counts, I don't have the exact numbers, but I'm sure the two linebackers, Eccles and Gray, are top 10, top 5 in the country because they almost never
Probably.
come off the field. And they had
Yeah.
depth on the defensive line, but against Georgia Tech, they went hurry up and we couldn't sub. So the guys got tired there, especially in the fourth quarter. But, they said something like, oh, they look gassed in the fourth quarter, but they only played like 10 snaps in the third quarter. So
Yeah,
it didn't make sense to me, but
Yeah. I know
yeah,
with your high powered offense, is that kind of like almost like a downfall for the defense because you'll score, you have short drives and the defense is right back on the field. Do you
yeah,
think maybe that has anything to play into it at all?
it definitely can, especially a big
Yeah.
explosive play, 3 plays later. They're right back out there again. And some offenses like to possess the ball and force them to stay on the field and keep the
Yeah.
ball away from UNC's offense. So
Yeah.
it's a
yeah.
good game plan. I mean, I would do it too if you had to go against top 6 passer and tied for first rusher in the country. Keep the
Well,
ball
you
away
can
from
definitely
those
expect that
guys.
this week. Yeah, you can
Oh
definitely
yeah,
expect that this week. The last two games we've had over 40 minutes of time of possession, so
hmm.
it's going
Got
to
to
be
force
kind of cool. I think
turnovers
we're
then.
going to do. Yeah,
Exactly. And to add to your point, Will, as well, and Greg, about Kamon Rucker for UNC has 8.5 sacks this season, and Cedric Gray has 4.5, and that actually those two guys alone have half of the team's total sacks,
Yep.
13 out of 26. So, I mean, and because there's definitely talks right now in terms of who is ACC Player of the Year, who's ACC Defensive Player of the Year, and I saw a clip earlier where Eric McLean from AC Huddle was talking about between Cedric Gray, Peyton Wilson, and then the linebacker from Clemson of who's the greatest
Trotter.
linebacker. Yeah, Trotter, who's
Yeah,
the greatest linebacker in the ACC. And it's kind of funny. Like, of course, Eric McLean was like, I think it's tough between Peyton Wilson and Trotter. And of course, us on this side were saying, no, Peyton Wilson, no doubt about it. I'm sure probably with you, Will. I mean, Cedric Gray. I mean, again, Cedric Gray, I mean, is definitely in the conversation, no doubt about it. I got to show props where props are due. I mean, 104 total tackles, 4.5 sacks, an interception, four pass deflections, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 that are recovered. There's no doubt he's seems to be the rock of the defense for sure. But kind of give me your overall scout of the defense here first, and then we'll kind of move on over to maybe the offense during part 2 here. But kind of give me your overall scouting report on the defense.
On State's defense,
No. Sorry, on UNC's defense. Yeah,
right now, you have a solid defensive line. You got Kamen Rucker on one end and Desmond Evans, who's finally coming into his own some in his senior year. Good rotation inside guys, and you got 2 great linebackers. Secondary's been a little bit of a weakness this year. We lost a
they're
lot
the
of the
worst.
secondary. It's really the safeties, I'd say. The corners have impressed, especially Huzzy. I mean, he got hurt in Clemson game, so hopefully we'll have him this week to maybe shadow KC. But You know, Marcus Allen, he's a sophomore. He's played really well. Tayon Holloway's redshirt freshman played really well. Um, but safeties, especially against Duke, just take bad angles. Sometimes they're the contained guy and they just get beat. Just come up to set the edge and guy runs right by him. We lost our star in the offseason, which is like a nickelback, which force Hezzy to play out of position. He was coming to be a corner and ended up playing that nickel role. But he's done a good job with that. But
Yeah.
safety's been really the biggest concern, for me at least.
Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flightland's Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need. Offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flightland's Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flightlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flightlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, UNC. So right now they're giving up an average of 26 points a game, which ranks. I'm seeing ninth in the ACC right now. So not the worst, but again, I think that. Do you have to maybe look at maybe who UNC's played against too?
Not too
Just
many
saying
high-powered
hindsight.
offenses.
Well, exactly. It's kind of funny because again, my wife is a South Carolina fan, and so at the time we looked at the UNC win over South Carolina, and be like, man, UNC is really good. They just beat South Carolina. I'm sitting here saying, no, South Carolina's just they're rough, man.
They were a little hurt. We
Their
had 9
offensive
sacks
line,
that game.
their offensive line has more holes than cheddar cheese, man. Like
Yeah.
Swiss cheese, man. Like they're bad, and I feel for Spencer Rattler, man. That dude's a great quarterback, and he has no protection.
I guess a third
And
of our
again,
sacks this season came from that game.
Yeah, I was just looking at
dude,
that. Yeah,
I
wow.
know that's a great stat
So,
right there, Will. Absolutely. And then obviously facing Miami, which we've learned from there that man they have quarterback issues. So it's again, I think you kind of say that about everybody that there's inflation or deflation depending on who everybody's played, which almost is kind of a good thing. Which I do want to ask you, Will, what have your thoughts been so far on the new formats where it's not Atlantic and Coastal? Man, what are your thoughts?
um, and everyone thinks we all miss the division days. I just wish there was more cut and dry tiebreakers because you look at the situations where there could be like 7 different things have to happen for 2 teams with the same record to be determined. And you see what's going on with the Big 12 right now, where there's like endless possibilities how their conference could play out. But
Yeah.
it's fun. Unfortunately, you see uh, things like Louisville, where they avoided Clemson, Florida State, and UNC in the regular season. And I went to the Louisville NC State game. I wasn't really blown away by Louisville. I mean, they made a lot of mistakes. They, they won 13-10, but it wasn't like, oh wow, they're a great team.
No.
State easily could have won that game. And Plummer threw one
Yeah.
of the ugliest interceptions I've ever seen in my life in the end zone. Like
It's
we
bad.
were all just, did he throw that?
That was a
But
gift.
they're one loss team going into the conference championship, so
Yeah. That's a
it
great
works
point.
out.
Yeah.
You can look back to
Absolutely.
the 2015 UNC team and say they got to avoid most of the top teams in the ACC that year too. So it works both ways. But
Yeah, we were talking about our live stream about how what
Mhm.
it takes to win a championship, and we were talking about luck, right? Some of that is,
Yeah.
just how the rotation that year works out. Whether you get a team like for every year we had Clemson, on the schedule, but in 21 when we had a chance to win the ACC or at least make it to the championship, we had them at home and we beat them at home.
yep,
So yeah,
Yep.
it's just about who you play, when you play them, and if you play them.
that's
Mhm.
true.
Absolutely. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
No. Go ahead, Michael.
just along that lines, like this year, if you had Wake and Pitt on the schedule, those were, most teams are going to beat them. But
Right.
go back just 2 years ago, and those 2 teams played for the ACC championship. So
Yep. I mean, it's we always said coastal chaos, but the whole conference has been chaotic this year. Louisville's
Yeah.
one loss was to Pitt, so
Right.
yeah. Like,
And then you had a
it's
team like
crazy.
Georgia Tech, whose overall record's not very good, but they were right in the mix of it for the, and
Exactly.
same with Virginia Tech up until this week. They were right in the mix for a spot in the ACC championship game, even though their overall records were not good.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
And
Well, and Georgia Tech's a good enough team where, if I'm telling Georgia Bulldog fans, I'm saying don't sleep on Georgia Tech now. Don't sleep
nope,
on
Yeah.
them.
they can
Man.
make some plays.
They can make some plays. Don't sleep on them. No, I'm not saying they have a good
Yeah,
chance
I'm not
to
picking 'em.
upset, but I'm not picking them. But I'm saying don't sleep on them though.
Right.
Don't think you're gonna walk over them. So this isn't the same Georgia Tech team that we saw a couple years ago. So or
Yeah, they
even
play hard
last
for
year,
their
2 years
coach.
ago. They do play really hard for the coach. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But I do gotta ask though, Gene Chizik, man, is he gonna be the coach, the defensive coordinator next year?
Who knows at this point? Max seems real loyal to his guys. I
Mhm.
can't imagine he would stay.
I couldn't either.
There could be so many changes to the roster and coaching staff between now and preseason or spring ball. It could be a very interesting offseason in Chapel Hill.
Well,
I
I think he
mean,
brings you a lot of name value for sure. I mean,
he does.
Yeah.
Started off
Well,
confident, but
he's got a national championship, right? So I mean, that's kind
Mhm.
of what he's hanging his hat on at this point.
two.
Yep.
Yeah.
One is a DC with Mac at
That's
Texas, and
yep.
one with
That's a
Cam
fair
Newton.
point.
But when you
Yep,
look at the
fair point.
quarterbacks on both of his championship teams, how much did that help?
Yeah, probably just a
Yeah.
little bit.
Vince
Yeah,
Young and a
let's
Cam
not-
Newton. I'd like to have
Yeah.
those guys every year.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's-
2 college football Hall of Fame guys.
Yeah, no, we need to ask Jimbo Fisher that same question too, right? So, who'd have thought? But it is kind of interesting though with Mac Brown. He's had quite a list of defensive coordinators over his years. Like I still remember even Will Muschamp being his defensive coordinator.
Yep.
I'm like, man,
He was
He's
the
had some
coach in
good
waiting
ones.
behind Mac at Texas. So
you think Mac Brown will give Will Muschamp a call? Come to Carolina?
people wanted it in the offseason. I saw that name float around inside Carolina some, but
That'd be that would sit me back in my chair a little bit if UNC got Will Muschamp, man. That would sit me
everyone
back in my
wants
chair, no doubt.
Georgia's defensive coordinator. But why would you leave? I think he's a
Oh,
coach.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a step
defensive
back.
coordinator. I'm like,
Every
Yeah.
school.
let's
wants
just pick
that's
the
a
top
step back.
5 teams in the country and hope that their co-guys would
Yeah.
leave. But
Yeah.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Those guys are
But-
leaving for head coaching positions.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, no, and I do want to kind of ask you a little bit as well. My kind of thing. I know that you and I kind of talked a little bit about as well. One specific moment this season for UNC being the Duke game. Like looking back at it now, I'm sitting here saying that this season, as much as it's fallen off, like man, like imagining losing that you would have lost to Virginia, Georgia Tech, beat Campbell, but then lost to Duke and Clemson, man, like that Duke game literally saved it. Like, and I'm saying this not even as a state fan, like haha, suck it. I'm saying this like, holy smokes, man, like that could have took the season from to wow, this is awful. Like
Yep.
Drake May, and you're losing 4 out of 5 games, man, and one to a third string.
Did it
Duke
last year too.
quarterback, man.
Lost 4 out of the
I
last
know.
5.
That's true. That's true. So I mean, kind of tell me, man, like with Mac Brown, I mean, and we'll kind of continue this here into part 2, man. But there's a lot of talks of him hanging up after this season.
You do see
No,
it.
he already said he came back. He already said he's
Oh,
coming back.
Well,
Okay.
of course they're gonna say that. That's
Well,
just
yeah,
you
that's
gotta
Signing day
say
hasn't
that.
came yet.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. Good
exactly.
point. Good point.
I mean, you definitely could paint a scenario.
Hold on. That would be the ultimate dirty Carolina thing to lock these kids into something, and then Matt goes.
Well, I
Deuces.
think is that just basketball where if a coach leaves or quits, they get 30 days?
Oh,
no,
I don't
that's-
know. Yeah, I don't know.
I
don't know
remember
enough
that
about it.
happened
heard
with
that.
No, that's
the
for
West
football,
Virginia
too.
basketball coach last year. After he
No, it's for
got
football too. Like
Yeah.
Texas A&M guys have gone in the portal because
yeah,
he's fired.
so
Because Jimbo got fired.
Yeah.
I like
Okay.
that rule. I haven't heard that
No,
rule.
I like that too.
rule.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, 'cause that would be pretty dirty.
yeah,
Yeah.
lock him in and
Yeah.
say, "Never mind, guys, you know who your coach is gonna be."
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
But with coaching
Um,
changes, do you think Dave would want to return to the Midwest and go to Michigan State as a possibility, or? I mean, he has a good
I
thing going
mean-
right now. But
What?
Yeah.
Well, exactly.
It is interesting though because the Carolina president is going to be taking over at Michigan State,
Yeah.
so he definitely knows of Dave Doran. Not
think-
that they have a ton of it involved.
I think a lot of Michigan
horrible.
State fans want the Kansas coach.
Leopold or Leopold
Yeah.
or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm surprised he hasn't got
I-
taken already, honestly.
Me
But
too.
Yeah,
He might have already behind the scenes. Who knows?
That's
yeah,
true.
who knows?
True.
For Dave, it's like I know the one thing that's missing on his resume or his record, at state is an ACC championship or at least just an ACC championship appearance. much less a victory in that. And he preaches that, you know, the whole one pack one goal is, you know, the point is to win a championship, and that's, you know, his whatever his mantra or fight slogan. But I don't know. I would be interesting because like the way this fan base is, it's a fickle fan base. I mean, it literally is a 50-50 fan base. I don't know how it is for Mac if, you know, the Carolina fans feel the same way. But, you know, it's all like, great, Dave's won 8 games, but who was he beat? You know, his overall ACC record is this. And like, they don't look at the positives, they look at the
Right.
negatives. And I know that's kind of the world we live in today. It's everyone
Always
wants
our
to
own
kind of
biggest
knock everyone
critic.
down. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
of course. Yeah.
Amen. Yeah, well, I mean, in my quick case with Michigan State thing too is that, I mean, you know, Raleigh is you know, been voted
it's not
repeatedly
East
as one of
Lansing.
the, as
That's
one of
true.
the top 2
Yeah.
places to live and
Yeah.
have a family in the entire country. He has a son that goes to NC State. He has a son that goes to App State. You know, he has a son that goes to Cardinal Gibbons that's getting recruited. So I mean, his whole family is here. So I just don't see. And
He's got good
exactly.
ties to the community too.
Well,
Right.
and again, he's
Yeah.
51. He's about to turn 52 years old. He's said for a long time that when he turns 55, he's going to retire and go, you know, open a bait and tackle shop, you know, and all that. And so, I I honestly wouldn't be surprised if in the next couple of years, if he wins an AC title, that he rides off into the sunset. And hey, if he brings the AC championship,
Good for him, right?
first ballot Hall of Famer,
Build the
build
statue.
statue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dave
exactly.
Doran Stadium, and thank you, Coach Doran. Have a good one. Like, you know,
Yep.
appreciate you. So again, if you want to tune in for part 2, y'all, where we're going to talk about what it's going to take for us to win this game on Saturday, what, at least in Will's opinion, it's going to take for UNC to win the game, and then our game predictions. Make sure to tune in for part 2, y'all, and we'll see y'all then. Go back, y'all.